And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Juneteenth to everyone tuning in. We are excited to have you a part of the conversation. My name is Bria Janelle. I will be the moderator for today. But before I introduce these amazing men that we have on the line, I want to give you all the definition of Juneteenth if you don't know, if you're not familiar with the term. But it is the oldest known celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States. So again, happy Juneteenth. We'd like to welcome you to It's Bigger Than Ball. It's a conversation presented by ABL and Crew, which stands for Creative Revolution Union. So it's going to be an exciting conversation today. And it's a candid conversation on the state of hoop culture, HBCU sports, careers, and so much more. So without further ado, I will go ahead and get these started by introducing these gentlemen. I like to call them the starting five. So I'm going to do it because I got some ballers on the line, introducing them as if we're doing starting lineup. Sound good, guys? All right, cool. So he is the CEO of Born to Compete and a graduate of Fort Valley State. His height has been undisclosed. I need y'all to welcome Alex Benson.
I like that one right there.
You like that, right? All right.
That was good.
And next, from the Westchester Knicks, he's a 6'1" guard from the Morehouse University, Tyrus T. Walker. Welcome.
Hey, I like that.
Okay. This is first time for Zoom. Rob was like, oh, I can't wait for mine. I got you, brother. I'm coming. So from the Houston Rockets, he's a 6'7" power forward from Tennessee State University. And you see he's got a Smoothie King cup in his hand right now. Y'all welcome Rob Covington.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay with the Smoothie King. So,
hey, staying healthy, staying fit. I like it. Mm-hmm. And from the Philadelphia 76ers, he's a 6'10" power forward from Norfolk State University. He's ordering his cold cuts right now. You know what I'm saying? The only guy wearing a long sleeve during the summertime, Mr. Kyle O'Quinn. Welcome. And
thank you.
Hey, and rounding things off, this gentleman right here, he is the founder and CEO of the Atlanta Entertainment Basketball League, located right here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. He is a 10-time LA Fitness All-Star, and his height has also been undisclosed. Y'all welcome Jahi Rawlings.
Hey, appreciate you. Hey, I gave Kyrie that Uncle Drew name, just FYI.
Hey, look, that's what I said, Jahi Rawlings. So again, welcome guys again to this conversation. We're excited to be having this on Juneteenth, which is, like I said, it's bigger than ball. And so we're gonna get right to it. So 15-year-old hoop phenom Mikey Williams made headlines on social media when he hinted that he would consider attending an HBCU. So question for you guys, could he be the chosen one HBCUs have been waiting on? And I'll open up the floor to whoever wants to answer first.
I'll start because I do know Mikey and I know his family. They definitely could be this trend to start helping these kids make different decisions about universities they want to sit up here and empower. Being, like you said, one of the few graduates in the league right now, you can learn a lot from HBCU, and there's not a lot that them predominantly white universities can teach you about your culture, about where you came from, where your ancestors. You're not learning all that stuff. Granted, some of these kids don't even stay that long, but still within that year's time frame, you learn so much about yourself. You learn about where you come from. And, I had an empowering, experience, coming from HBCU. And, today is our founding day as well. So it's like, it's an amazing thing. And like you said, kids will be able to, follow suit because they do have a big following. They'll see if they take that route, then they'll be like, people want to follow in the footsteps to bring about a change in the narrative. And like I said, I actually have talked about to a couple kids that actually are considering that, once the time comes. So it's a big thing that could, be a change in everywhere they sit up here and the outcome of their whole lives, and these kids that come behind them.
I definitely think I feel like he can disrupt this whole thing because it really only takes one real popular young star who kind of has all of the top schools looking at them to say, look, man, like he said in his caption, he said, you can make it from anywhere. You know what I mean? They gonna follow you. So as long as Bleacher Report, Undefeated, Slam, Overtime is constantly covering his games and his journey, them other kids gonna see that those and I said it's gonna be a shift. It may not be immediate, right? Like you might not see 100 kids. They always put out the top 100, so you might not see 20% of those kids go to HBCUs, but at least 4 of them will. You know what I mean? Especially they understand. No, like Rob, before you jumped on, me and Kyle was kicking it a little bit, and I was telling him that I think one of the reasons why a lot of kids don't even consider HBCUs is because they don't even know that there's Division I HBCUs. They think HBCU is like damn, they're going to prep school. You know what I mean? Like that's how they look at it. It's not like Hampton, FAMU, Howard, North Carolina A&T is sponsored by Jordan. You know what I mean? You getting the same kicks.
Not to cut you off, but with all due respect, don't ever name that many HBCUs before you say Norfolk State.
Norfolk State.
You can continue with your list though, but don't ever name that many schools without putting us in there. Continue though.
Norfolk State.
Right. Come on now, Rob.
They recruiting them, but they not telling them what's in store. You know what I mean? And when you go to these EYBL and Adidas gauntlets, the HBCU coaches are there, but they not selling their programs like these other schools are. And I think that's really gonna be the shift. If Mikey do it, I can see Zaire Wade doing it. If they do it, man, that next generation, the guys that are sophomores and freshmen, I can see more of them signing with HBCU.
Yeah, I agree with what Josh's saying, man, and Rocco's saying. In football, right, it takes so much to even get on the field, right, if you're a big-time player. But with basketball, if you're a big-time player, if you're one of those top guys in the country, you can get on that court instantly. And the thing about basketball is the camera follows the player in basketball, right? Football, it follows the team. So if he can go to a HBCU and do well, which he more than likely will, right? I mean, we already know what it is. So if he does well, it's going to bring that much attention to the HBCUs. It's going to bring that much attention to what they have going on. I think what Kyle was talking about at the very beginning, unfortunately with HBCUs, we could do better recruiting. We could do better about letting people know what we have as far as the program that's out there and how they can enjoy being there. Me graduating Fort Valley State, be honest with you, I didn't know as much about it, keeping 100 with you, when I was in high school. You just don't because your eyes are on the bigger schools. That's just kind of what it is. And so you go to a HBCU, and I'm sure Rocco can say, and Tyrus can say as well, like once you go to a HBCU and you have that experience, man, it's like no other. And I think the best way to say it is it's like a family, man. That's really what it is. Like you can talk to all your teammates. If you want to talk to your teachers, you can talk to them. Everybody knows when you walking around on campus, you ain't no superstar like that. You one of the family members. You can try to act Hollywood if you want to, but they ain't gonna be hearing that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like it's family. That's what it is. And so if this young man decides to go there, he'll bring a lot of attention there. They'll do well. And here's the thing: if he goes, knowing how basketball goes, knowing how recruiting goes, he won't go by himself. And that's what it is. And that team, whatever team those young men choose to go to, they're going to do a great job. And, you just hope that the media, everybody's going to get behind it and, support those young men as they continue their journey.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so from my point of view, I look at it like, honestly, it's going to definitely shock the world, because coming from my point of view, it's like you can see the whole process with Mikey dealing with media. So you go on YouTube, you can see when he committed to a HBCU to the finish to where he get drafted, So you only see D1, things on YouTube on the process and the pre-draft workouts and everything like that. But from, our point of view, it's like you don't get to see a HBCU product, process. So I feel like that's going to be the big key about it, seeing the whole process that it's not gonna change dealing with his ranking, you can't beat that. So hopefully he definitely do it because everybody gonna follow suit. I feel like everybody gonna follow suit.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you too, just to chime in off of that. You had, I mean, I think you were the youngest guy come out of HBCU of the group, so yeah, I guess the rookie of the crew. But you had more of an advantage with social media, right? So, you know, do you feel like it helped you during that process? Because we did see a lot of you on Instagram and people doing mixtapes, you know, of you from college.
Oh yeah, it definitely helped because it was like they seen like the whole community just got behind me. So it was like more so in high school, I didn't have the community because it's like, oh, you're not going to a big school, so we're not going to really push it. But once they seen that, you know what I'm saying, I put in the work, and then the community seen like, oh, he actually have a shot. Once they see the media, it only take one person to see it, you know? It only take one person to see it. So it was like, I just thank the community. So just imagine him. He got his ranking, and then they already know who he is. So it's going to be 100 times better than what, you know, my process. So I feel like they can speak on that too. I feel like they just imagine you had a camera seeing your whole pre-draft workouts and everything like that.
That's what I'm going to ask you guys, and also chiming into how big of an influence is social media now, really in this process compared to, like, you know, as T-Walk said, you have it from the beginning to the end. Do you feel like it's giving more students an opportunity to see, like, hey, there is another option outside of a PWI or the ones that we see on television every week?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one. For social media, I mean, that's how we built our business, right? I mean, we started on YouTube a long time ago. T-Walk knows. I mean, he was on all that kind of stuff. And what it does is, just like it changed the music industry, it eliminates almost eliminates the gatekeeper, kind of eliminates the middleman. So there's nobody saying, like, you know, hey, this is the guy you got to look at. Well, here's the deal. Social media, you can put yourself out there. You know, if you get a big enough following, then you can pretty much change the status quo on how people view you because you're able to tell your own story. And I think the real way is you're able to control your own narrative. And that's really kind of where it goes from.
So, well, I know, Rob, did you have something to chime in on that? I saw you're going to say something.
Yeah, I can speak on that now because I never was a big fan of social media like that. Like, I was in the real world, like seeing and doing like different things. I didn't get on like Instagram or anything like that. So I was like a junior, I want to say. And like, or before I sat up here and it was in junior year. I didn't get a Twitter until I was midway through my sophomore year. And my teammates basically created it for me. So I never was a kid that was like really caught up in social media. Like, I had Facebook, you know, MySpace back in the day, but I wasn't as heavy as everyone else was. And so that is kind of like a tribute to my story because, like I said, I wasn't heavily involved in it. Like, ways you found out or what I knew stuff was based off through my family, like not going seeing everything. Like, I'll find out through friends, family, and stuff like that. But now, you know, the way the world has shifted, like Alex said, that's how your brand grows. And now being on this platform now, that's the easiest way to sit up here and sell yourself because you can have however many followers you have, like the content you put out, it gets spread around because if somebody likes it, somebody else can see it, or if you do, it pops up on Explore page. It's so many different narratives that sit up here and play a part in it to where, you know, people can sit up here and go from, you know, just a regular person to somebody that's on a prominent, you know, scale now because of social media. Like, that's basically all these social influencers are. There was regular people that just sat up here and did something that got trendy, and then they went and ran with it, and that's how their brand grew. So that's how social media plays a significant part, and it's only going to get heavier as time goes on because it's so much that people have to add into this. You know, it's so many different things that they're going to sit up here and try and create new content because they want to sit up here and keep this thing going. You don't want nothing to die. They're going to sit up here and keep doing the same thing and keep trying to grow and keep trying to elevate, and they're going to find ways. They always do.
I love it. Kyle, I'm going to start with you on this one. and then open up the floor for everyone else to chime in. But what is the biggest misconception that student athletes may have in attending HBCUs?
The biggest misconception I would say is how small the universities are. Typically small classrooms, small university. The on-campus living may not be, what you would get at another school if you went like on a college tour. So I know that's always like, and then the areas that, surround a HBCU are usually a little janky. You know what I mean? So, you just kind of like look at those kind of things and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do 4 years here. But I think that's a misconception because like anywhere, you'll get comfortable no matter where you are. As a college student, you're presented with the same risk at any university, whether it's Dartmouth or, Norfolk State. So I say that to say, it's to piggyback on what I said earlier, it's one of those things where you really have to integrate yourself into the community, into the culture, and you'll see the benefits, whatever they are. And I know that we're talking about basketball, but you get so many other benefits. Obviously basketball is what we're on the phone for. And I'm a strong believer on if you're good enough, they'll find you no matter where you are. Social media helps and all that. But if you're good enough, they'll find you. And I think with the kid Mikey, I didn't chime in earlier, but with the kid Mikey, taking that bold statement and is going worldwide, I just hope that, as HBCUs, we're prepared for the wave that can potentially come. We got to step it up too. Our universities got to step it up. We got to create programs and things like that to cater to kids that have a chance to have a career after college. And I think that'd be a good test for everybody, to trust the families sending their kids to an HBCU and ultimately, HBCUs delivering.
Good. Anybody else would like to chime in on that one?
Yeah, I can chime in on him with that because I could tell him I never heard of Tennessee State before I got there. Before I even I'm not even gonna like joke around. I never heard of Tennessee State. I didn't know where it was. And the coach that sat up here and was not recruiting me, he didn't have a job technically when he started talking to me at Tennessee State. So he was so adamant. He was talking about, man, when I get this job, I'm gonna do everything in my power to get you here. I didn't believe a word this man said at all. At all. And, I didn't even know it was HBCU at first, honestly. When I went down there, my dad just told me, I wasn't highly recruited. I wasn't like any of that. My dad just told me, this coach was calling him literally every day before he got the job. And once he got the job, he had only called twice a week. So going down there, my dad was like, you don't have no options. So what can you hurt? You're just going to end up right where you was at. Man, I went down there. He was like, just go take a visit. I went down there, and before the day was even over, I called my parents and was like, yeah, I found my school. Like, it was the match made in heaven because it was a rebuilding program. It was a school that basically how I've been playing, like, and everything that been part of my story was something that had to be built from the ground up. And it was a whole new program and everything, new coaching staff. And I took on that embrace. And once we sat up here and like through my years of playing, nobody knew who I was at first couple of years. But after that sophomore year, like all them schools that wasn't recruiting me was all calling, like trying to sit up here and get to my AU coach, my dad, people that was close to me, like coaches and all this other stuff, trying to get me to come to their schools. But you didn't want me in the beginning. So why now, after the evolution of everything, no, I'm gonna finish where I started at, and I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna keep building this up. Not a lot of kids understand that it gives you that extra grit. It gives you that edge to sit up here and go out and prove yourself even more. And people have been telling me for the longest that I couldn't compete with the best of them. But when it came down to the combine, and then after that, my name went on, and like people was like, well, shit, hold up. Who is this kid? Like that we ain't got no where he's Tennessee State. Where is that? Like So you create like KO said, you create your own narrative wherever you go. Because at the end of the day, if you are adamant, if you are determined, it don't matter where you go. One of the top prospects in this year's draft, he's in junior college.
I love it, and that's it.
So it doesn't matter, regardless of wherever you go. You create your own narrative, especially now with the way social media is and all the way these kids are. Their game is evolving. You create what you control your destiny, how you sit up here and to go about your future. You control it. Nobody else control it now. We have that kids understand now that we have more power than what we did before, because it's much more influential now because of social media. You've already done the work. You've already did everything. Ain't nobody got to put nothing out there for you now. You've already shown it. So that's the way that things are growing now. And like I said, I'm a living testament of it. You know, half.
And I'm gonna chime in on that real quick before I lose my point, Rob. You know, you look at guys like yourself or myself, and you know, you went in with a grit. You know what I mean? A program didn't embrace you; you embraced it, and ultimately, the program took care of you. I hate to keep piggybacking on, you know, when I say the program, because you got to put a little bit on the program, because you get an 18-year-old kid that don't really know anything, and he's going from his high school and AAU comfort to a university. You know, if we want to be looked at as top universities, you know, we got to be treated like so. And what I say is because Dartmouth, and I hate to pick on Dartmouth, let's pick on somebody else. I don't know, Cornell. When's the last time they had a pro? But we'll talk about that pro like he's the best pro ever, because we know the program is probably, you know, on the higher end. You know, it shouldn't be success stories every single time an HBCU player comes out, because I could line up 5 HBCU guys against anybody and we'll give them their run for their money. You got 3 on the phone now, and I could find 2 more. You know, so I think that it's, and I said it earlier, it's just a real test to see if we're all ready for it, because the same grit that Rob had, I had, because I didn't like going home and everybody had Nike Elite gear.
Man.
You know what I mean? That shit burned different. Like, okay, well, I got a 2X t-shirt on, but you got a large, tall, and it's holding you a little differently.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I wanted to get to that good stuff. And ultimately, you know, when things started going the right way, I wanted to, you know, further my career to take care of my family. Man, I got to eat this shit.
Yeah,
I wanted to jump in on a point too. What Kyle said was super important. That you know, I think as HBCUs, we have to be ready to bring them in. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to figure out a way. HBCUs have to figure out a way to raise money, bring in revenue, try the best to improve the facilities the best we can, and really, just if I could just be blunt, man, I think Black people, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, if everybody's preaching, hey, go to HBCUs, well, then how are we going to bring in the money to go ahead and take care of these players that want to come in? You know what I'm saying? What facilities are we going to go ahead and build? How are we going to work together to do this? And this, again, this isn't a knock on any other school out there, but This is just the conversations about HBCUs. So we have to, again, create revenue stream, which to me is easy because it's there. You have social media now, so you can control your own narrative. You can control, you can do your own live streaming from YouTube and put your advertisers in there and make your money, however it is. But you can create different ways to make revenue. And then also it's about reaching out to the alumni, trying to get the alumni to bring in money, you know, to that. And, you know, here's the great thing, right? And not calling him out by no means, but, you know, Michael Jordan talked about how he's going to donate some money to whatever, right? Even if he comes out and just says, hey, I'm going to donate however much to North Carolina A&T, wherever, right? And he has his connections that he has, that will bring more people to the party, you know, because again, it's all about, we have in both leagues, both the major leagues, right? As far as football and basketball, it's a 75% or 70+% African-American players, Black players playing. That's a lot of millionaires. And you can say that, but really what I look at it is, that's a lot of connection to Nike. That's a lot of connections to Under Armour, to Adidas, to Puma. Those are a lot of connections that can bring people in to create internships, to create different type of advertising streams that can bring in money, that can increase all the facilities, that can increase the media attention that these type of programs get, and that can bring in those players. Like the old saying goes, right? If you build it, they will come. And they'll come. They'll come. But you got to give them something to come to.
and I want to chime in on a little bit of what you said, and also let the people tuned in, and as well as our guests. One of the things our multicultural marketing agency is doing is we've been working with CIAA, we've been working with SIAC. We're taking a position, a stance that because a lot of these alumni and boosters, the athletic directors, they're, and no offense, it is comes with legacy branding as a HBCU, that you do have more, tenured athletic directors or, board members, so to speak, is that we have to kind of create a united front with our new kind of generation of working with brands, because they don't understand. So let's take Morehouse, for example. Morehouse has probably been in a long-lasting relationship with Coca-Cola, but Coca-Cola is probably not giving them as much as they give a one-day event in a year. You get what I'm saying? So whereas the funding from corporate brands are important, I think exactly what you said has to be done. So our brand execs that are African-American, our business owners, our athletes, and our entertainers, we now have to start making endowments back to our HBCUs, so they do have that resource to recruit that kid. Most of these coaches don't even have enough budget to buy the coaching pamphlets when they go to recruiting events. Sometimes they can't even travel across the country to recruit because there's no budget. So what we're trying to do is create almost like a community within our community to find those ways for brands to put money, not necessarily because you know how they're gonna look at it like, oh, we already kind of give Undefeated and ESPN2 X amount of dollars to advertise. Nah, that's not what we're talking about. We need you physically integrated into these communities that surround these HBCUs, so that way there's already funding built in. Because Duke and North Carolina and all these big PWIs, they already got it. That funding is already there, whether it's from the alumni, corporate partners. You got some people that donate to schools and they ain't even go there. just because they're fans of the school. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I really want to lean on you guys as former HBCU athletes who are playing at the next level is, and we'll do it offline, but get a better understanding of what are some of those conversations you guys are having about, giving back to that and how we can unify to make it even better. Because the responsibility isn't only on you guys as athletes.
And that's why I want to be. That's why I kind of like, my dream job ultimately is to be the athletic director at Norfolk State, just to kind of like let it trickle down from the top, and allocate the funds you do have and partnerships you've made over your career to kind of help all sports. When you see the school colors, you want to, like you said, people, and it is true, people donate to Syracuse University and they never even been there. They just look at the Carrier Dome on TV like we do. And I think that, that's just a testament to how good their program is and their legacy is. But like you said, HBCUs, we just got to really take advantage of what we do have and be ready for when that time comes.
Yeah. And we are, and again, Rob, you kind of came on a little bit after we jumped in on the kind of like some small talk, but we're actually launching something today that I'll share with you guys that I feel like is going to be very disruptive to the normal of grassroots basketball. So I'm excited about getting you guys involved and getting your support and others that because for me, not going to a HBCU, I feel like it's somewhat now me understanding, being a little bit older, what is needed. I can't stand by and watch it not be impacted, because that's the difference. To me, you get successful and then you like, that kind of ain't important. But for me, when I see my young Black brothers and sisters making decisions and going to these deep, large Division I schools, and then the next year you see them and they at some junior college, or now they ain't even playing basketball, but you could have went to this HBCU, and if that was your route that you decided not to play basketball anymore, you still would have been connected to your culture and your community to learn and better yourself. versus just being a number, So I promise you guys, man, I know I didn't go to HBCU, but there's not an HBCU within arm's reach. AUC, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, FAMU that I don't donate to. If they ask me to do something, outreach to somebody or try to connect them with guys like you to say, hey, you want to come back and talk to the players or even help out with a camp. That's what we got to start doing for those who are not maybe in those higher positions with the wealth right now to say, hey, I can throw a check at it. Because the check ain't just going to solve the problem.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you on that. Like I said, I being here, like I made my home in Nashville. So I'm always at my university. I'm always in tune with everyone there. Like to this day, my AD just retired, and I still have conversations with everybody that is in the athletic department. I still have conversations with them. I still have like I mentor a lot of the players, and I talk to them like, yo, if it's something y'all want to know, like just hit me up. Like kids, I don't think they're used to having access to that so easily. And me being who I am, like I'm always want to help the next generation because I understand that it wasn't nothing. I didn't have that. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to nobody. Only person that I could really talk to like that was Anthony Mason, but I only seen him a handful of times. So I never had the access to every day be around an NBA player. But then, I understood that my main thing, what I want to do is I want to make an impact and do as much as I can to sit up here and have inspiration behind me because everybody ain't gonna have access to that. Like that's the reason why I do what I do back home. Like I throw a free camp. I do a free camp every year just to bring kids off the streets. So I know what's going on back at home. I don't want to sit up here like all these kids that are running around doing all this bad stuff. I seen these kids growing up. You would never think that these kids was gonna be that, but the product of the environment that they are in, that's what caused them to be that. And I want to sit up here and make a change no matter what I can do. So that's the reason why I take the initiative to do what I do. And, I want to have kids to be able to talk to me at any time and be like, man, I need to know about this because a lot of people don't have that guidance. They don't have that resource that they sit up here and utilize. And I had it, but I didn't know how to utilize it to the fullest. Now growing up, I know what it takes to sit up here and do for the next generation because you don't want them to sit up here and have to fall into them same categories and then not know how to react to it. So that's the reason why, like, even KO, I'm pretty sure KO does the same thing. Like, it's just about us impacting the ones behind us because they see what we did and they like, man, it's possible. Like, now let me figure out exactly what they did. Like, how did they get to that point? Like, we went through hell and high water. We went through hell and high water because everybody didn't think that we could compete with the highest, the ones that are on that scale that have always been. But when it comes down to it, we all got to sit up here and we all got to lace our shoes up. Yeah. And the biggest monster gonna win. So it doesn't even matter about what school you go to. It don't matter about. It's about what you can do to make an impact. And that's the reason why I've done what I've done, and I'm only gonna keep growing. And like KO said, potentially one day he'd be AD at Norfolk. If things work out, I potentially go back and do that for my university or something involvement and keep using my platform because we got access to it all. I've built relationships over my course of my 7 years. I want to utilize them. I don't want to just be one of them people that sit up here and have a conversation and then keep on moving as your years dwindle down. Nah, I'm gonna utilize this. Like I'm gonna pick your brain. I'm gonna get you involved in engagement, and I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna do a lot of different things that sit up here and gonna keep you involved with it. So that's how we can sit up here and make a change with all that. And that's not just one person. Like if you having multiple people with that same type of mindset, it's only gonna sit up here and bring out more attention and awareness, and then people going to sit there and open up their minds and be like, well, maybe they own to something right there. And they see like, we did it. So that's going to bring more attention to it. So I think this is going to be the turning point in all of this with, everything that's going on. And like I said, people are taking advantage of it. Right. Like a lot of it.
And not to cut you off on that, dealing with my situation, it was a little different. Me going to Morehouse, and that's a Division II school. It was more so like a lot of Division II schools don't even just get an opportunity to be in front of, a GM or whatever the case is. So that's more so even harder, than anything than an HBCU D1. So it's like, even with me going to Morehouse, and I stayed down the street, and I didn't even know Morehouse had a basketball team, but I can relate to Rob. I didn't have no other option, So it was like, with Coach Brewer just telling me, take advantage of your opportunity of this chance, it was like going into it like, oh, I'm still not going to make it. But then dealing with Kyle, you put in work and you show that you can play. It only take one person to see you. So that's why I strongly believe with what Kyle said. And if you can hoop, they're going to find you, But it's more so like we all saying, we just need to all come together and put the HBCU on the billboards and everything, like knowing that we don't really have the resources or, the money like that for the big time, athletes to come to the schools. You just I feel like they definitely got to find a way to do better, so, because we can say that all along, but right. In my eyes, I'm thinking about playing on TV, getting a lot of Nike gear, living good. But it's like we don't even have that form, so we just got to make a way. And that's why at the end of the day, I still wouldn't change my process for anything else.
All right. So how let me Bria got knocked off, so when she jumped back in, I'll let her take back over, but I can guide us until then. But what are some of the things that you guys would like? And I'm speaking from someone standing on the outside who wants to lend support, resources, relationships. What are some of the things that you guys need from us to help your voice be heard, you be more visible in the stance of, when I Google, I promise you guys, I did this 7 times just to make sure I wasn't missing anyone. But when you Google HBCU NBA players, y'all pop up. Nobody else. They show like the guys that went back, like my uncle is Bob McCullough, right? He's a former HBCU player that played in the NBA back in the 60s. But as present time, Rob Covington, Cal O'Quinn, and if you search like D-League players, Tyrus pops up, right? So if my 7-year-old son is like, man, my dad is telling me about these HBCUs, and my son is on YouTube avidly, like he uses YouTube probably more than the people that actually be making money off YouTube, and he searches that, and you guys pop up, and he's like, oh man, some guys that look like me did go to a HBCU, and now I want to. Where can we make or help make that connection to you guys?
Overall, I think it's a culture thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to follow one player, one success story, because the reality is the toughest thing to do is make it to the NBA. I mean, it is hard as hell, but when you say a culture thing, take kids to games, enlighten them, be proud of where you went to. When I came out of school, I didn't, step away from my HBCU. So some of them advanced scouts and things like that still scout games. They listen, I saw a kid down there, big kid at, Florida A&M. Is he any good? They know that I love it. I love it. And I let anybody know. I don't care about Miles Plumlee, Mason Plumlee, nothing. They didn't go through what I went through, and I let it be known. You know what I mean?
Right.
The biggest thing, the best compliment I got ever was coming through the combine. They said you couldn't tell who went to the small school. I said, well, quite frankly, my colors look better anyway. So y'all all should have went to Norfolk State. You know what I mean? Y'all not really separating yourself. So, but I just think as African Americans, HBCU advocates, I would say all of us on the phone, just really embracing our university, as tough as it may be sometimes. As African Americans, we make it tough on each other sometimes. Embrace it. We are products of it. They have created us to what we are today. And no matter what it is, even that parking lady in the parking lot at the school that treats you like you are still a student there, miss. I went there 9 years ago. You talking to me kind of crazy, but I love you, maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Embrace all that. And then ultimately, it'll trickle down and, kids will start appreciating it the way you appreciate it. And it'll just slowly start changing the culture.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Like you said, it's a culture thing. Like the more you sit up here and you put the content out there, the more you put the knowledge out there about that, it helps. Because my youngest brother, goes to my alma mater. My middle brother went to HBCU. But it's like they got to experience that stuff at a young age, and they kind of trickle to them like, yo, this is actually something that could be, fun. And so being around that nature and being around that love and being around people of your own, it helps. It makes you feel good because you feel comfortable. And I was able to grow. Like, I don't think I would have had the same outcome if I would have went to any other school. I wouldn't have, honestly, because through all the stuff that I face, adversity, the letdowns, the almost making it, and then getting things taken away from you, like all the trials and tribulations, this is stuff that we're gonna have to endure in everyday life. And a lot of times, them other universities can't sit up here and teach us how to recover and how to respond from stuff that's gonna hit us down the road. Like, they just give us the easy outlet, but they don't give us the reality of what we do. It's just a small gateway to get away from it. And so, going to Tennessee State taught me a lot of life lessons that still stick with me to this day. That's the reason why I'll never forget where my roots at. I still rep TSU to this day. And that's why I do what I can for them, because I understand what they didn't have then when I was in school. Now I'm making it a part of my process to sit up here and change that narrative. That way them kids have access to the same things that I have access to now. Right. It's all a process. Like, everything's not gonna happen. But if you keep breaking it down, and like you said, if you keep getting people to bring awareness to it, it's gonna sit up here and it's gonna help in the long run, because it's only gonna get better and better and better. And then these kids that recruiting classes are only gonna get better and better and better. So it's about what you invest into your university and what you sit up and invest in people. And, everyone here all the time sees me all the time. Like, I'm not here being hidden anything. Like, I embrace where I'm from. I embrace where I went to school. This is where I grew up as a man. Like, I went through the first 18 years of my life in Chicago, but me growing into the man I am today started once I stepped foot on Tennessee State University. And so a lot of kids, it teaches you a lot about you. It teaches you a lot about life. And it lets you know how to respond once real life hits you, because not a lot of people know how to sit up here and respond well.
Right.
So that's one of the things that, a lot of kids, it does hurt a lot of people. But, if you come from a certain background, or if you've always had it so easy, it's good to get to the other side, because then once real life hits you, it's like you have that big old culture shock that throws you off, like, what am I supposed to do?
Right. Kind of like, and I'm glad you said that, because I was literally getting ready to ask you in Tires I See. I think Kyle might have got knocked off, but what is that shock that you're talking about right now, right? That the world is going through, that equips a lot of what you've talked about with being on an HBCU campus, it being a family culture environment that is breeding you to be a model young man, whether you were in the NBA or not, to where, say, and I'm like Kyle, I don't want to pick on one university, but say like the guys at Clemson right now, they're, the guys on the football team, and Alex, you may be able to attest and be a little bit closer to it than I am, but I'm a fan of Clemson University. I committed there out of high school, so I still have a love for the program. But as an African-American kid and being on a predominantly white campus in a predominantly white state, and now the world is going through a massive chaos right now with us fighting for justice as Black people and getting our equality. What type of shift do you see that happening or helping HBCUs with that stance of like, hey, you go to Clemson, something like this happened, they don't even know how to deal with you. You know what I mean? They don't have things in place that can help you. Or who's going to mentor? Who's going to pull a kid to the side and say, hey, man, we understand your frustrations and your anger. Let's chop it up a little bit, versus it being like, man, I got to go all the way back home. And if you're a kid that go to Clemson, but you from LA, you know what I'm saying? Now you got to go all the way back to LA to get some type of compassion and empathy amongst the culture and community that you're in. I think that is a big part of the HBCU, stance, or at least that's what it should be, right? Like you get more than just being an athlete on campus. So, Tyrus, I know you're from Atlanta. You went to school right here in Atlanta. I feel like our city right now, outside of what's been going on in Minnesota, has become the face because, like we all jokingly say, this is Wakanda, right? So how do you see, that change or that shift happening right here in Atlanta? Or could be a change. Let me say that.
I feel like it could definitely be a change. But it all goes back on who you feel like you can relate to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if a professor from Clemson tell me something about history, it's like I don't feel like you can relate to me. You know what I'm saying? Because a professor from HBCU that went to HBCU, they really break it down to the T. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I can relate to them. It's just like from the hood. You know what I'm saying? I got big, OGs who talk to me about real life situations, but they can't really tell me nothing about college. It's because they never been. So it's like what I learned from college and the professors and Coach Brewer, he like my main mentor because he went to Morehouse. So it's like what he tell me, I tell them. So I just feel like it just goes back on who you can relate to. But I definitely feel like it's gonna be a change. That's why you see the AUC going out strong in Atlanta right now, marching. You know what I'm saying? Fist up. So and shout out to everybody in the AUC and even HBCUs, that's standing up for the Blacks, because they know our voice is definitely strong. And it's just crazy to me knowing that I have brothers and sisters from Spelman and Morehouse, down there putting their lives on the line, not even knowing it, you know what I'm saying, just for the Black people, and they looking for change. Because the way I look at it, it's like we looking for equality and change. Only if they knew it'll be ugly if we wanted revenge. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I feel like it's gonna change definitely.
Ja, I wanna jump in on that. You guys keep saying the magic word, which is or the nugget, which is change. And even looking at everything that's going on with the NCAA right now, I know we kind of talked about things offline and just some adjustments that they're making. Even looking at like student athletes now, where they can potentially receive revenue, off of their personal brands of life, is because we've seen for decades and decades, athletes not benefiting off of their name, but universities benefiting off of the athletes' names. So, with this change that we're seeing in society right now, the current cultural climate, how do you see that impacting the future of sports, HBCUs, and business, and what's to come?
I could tap on that. I think that's a huge step in the right direction for, kids to kind of choose their own narrative. Like I said, you don't have to sit up. Everybody knows what's been happening, like all the stuff that goes underlying with all these universities and stuff. So, for kids now to sit up and be able to profit off of their name and, not just the university, like it do be a lot of kids out here that be struggling and still be going to these big universities. But, that's just the narrative because, like you said, they come from certain backgrounds and they don't have the resources to sit up here and get the like financial aid and all that other stuff. But, you know, about the growth of, you know, the way the NCAA is, you know, they're trying to sit up here and keep kids coming to universities, because now the major things that have happened is, you know, with the G League, allowing kids to skip school, come there, they'll pay you. You take a whole year, but potentially get ready for the draft. So kids don't even feel like, all right, well, this is what's gonna happen, and they're gonna benefit from me. Like, I can go sit up here and help my family, like exactly how all these top kids are doing. Like Jalen Green and them all, they've kind of changed the narrative. LaMelo Ball, all of them have changed the narrative about going to college.
Yep.
So it's about, they're trying to figure out ways to keep at least some of these kids that are high prospects into staying in school, because if you take away all those kids and they all go the same route and they all do the same exact thing,
they ain't gonna make no money.
Where's the money going?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about when it comes to players being paid off their likeness, I think that can help the HBCUs is like a transfer portal. You know, if you have a 3-star, 4-star sitting on the bench, and you let that guy know, hey, look, you're not getting no playing time over there. You know, you can come over here with us. And here's the thing now, guys, we're talking straight business. You can come over here with us, and you can be the faces of a Grambling. You can be the face of Alabama A&M, Alabama State, you know, and this can increase you making money off the field as well. You know, so there are opportunities that are there, but I think as HBCUs, they have to take advantage of them and understand what you're recruiting against. Transfer portal has always been big for HBCUs, and you can say D2 schools, D1 AA schools. I know they don't say that no more, but you get what I'm saying. They've always been big for them. And this is a time to take advantage of that and say, hey, here's what we can offer. And here's how you can benefit, instead of sitting, because here's how it goes, right? And all these guys that played know. You get a talk, right? You can practice for 3 and play 1. That means you practice 3 years and you play your senior year, right? Everybody knows how that talk goes. So instead of practicing to play 3 and play, they know what I'm talking about. Instead of practicing to play 3 to play 1, then what you can do is you can come in. You're sitting on the bench. You're not getting no playing time. Come over here with us, baby. We got everything you want. We can sell your jersey. We got commercials for you. We got every single thing you want if you come over here, sign with us, an HBCU, for example, and play. And look, man, from a business standpoint, everybody is going to understand. Nobody will be mad at nobody. It's not going to ruffle any feathers. But that is a way you can get those players in when we're talking about players getting paid for their likeness.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that the high school kids now are the superstars. Brands are literally setting up their whole marketing strategies around the Gen Z audience. So if you're let's say Tyrus is the number 1 kid coming out of Atlanta, and he decides like, yo, I'm going to Morehouse, right? Or let's put it on the scale of what they talking about right now. Anthony Edwards is potentially the number 1 draft pick in this year's draft, right? Ant-Man could have went anywhere he wanted to in the United States. He could have went overseas and played. He decided to stay right here in Georgia. Though it wasn't the HBCU, he kind of bucked the system and was like, I ain't got to go to Kentucky. I ain't got to go to Duke or North Carolina. I'm going to go right here to my hometown major school. I'm a hoop. Yo, when he signed, their season tickets were sold out. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, immediately. Like, you couldn't even get onto the ticket website. It was like, you know, buffering. Like, you couldn't even get on it. You know what I mean? So he went to, yes, it was UGA, but let's put HBCUs into that conversation. You go to this HBCU. Not only are you the man on campus, you're the man amongst the culture. You got all your people riding with you. You ain't sharing no, you know, you go to ACC, you might have to share that spotlight with 7 to 8 other guys. You go to the SEC, shit, at Kentucky alone, they got 8 on their roster. You know what I mean? So when you become that dominant and you become the vehicle, other kids are going to start looking at it like y'all said, Tyrus, I was looking at your uniform. Y'all wore Russell, right?
Yeah, wore Russell.
Yeah. So Morehouse is wearing Russell, right? When Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour, now Puma, is kind of, integrating into Atlanta, why nobody on the executive team is like, yo, we got 3 HBCUs, 2 that have athletic programs. Why aren't we sponsoring these programs to get more visibility with the consumers, right? Because majority of the HBCUs, I know I only can speak for here in Atlanta, they, thrive in the culture of the city as well. Some of our strongest music execs, artists, entrepreneurs come from HBCUs. Mm-hmm. So, if you got that, and again, like we said, there's going to be 1, 2 that's going to have to really buck the system and do it. But the bread is there. The opportunity is there, and you own your own stake versus going to have to be a subsidiary kind of brand to a major university like Duke. Because Duke getting the bread. Duke getting $300 million, you making what, 130? Maybe 150,000. I don't know. The price going up right now in college sports. But, if they making that much money and you can take that and you can go make 20% of whatever that HBCU is making, I would do it. I would definitely be sending my son to a HBCU.
I wish they was paying when I was in college.
Me too.
I sat up here and that was like, it helped. It helped me as it taught me how to budget, like that, and that's a big thing. Like even to this day, like I'm super big on, utilizing every dollar that I have, and it's a gift and a curse. It was many a night, but the one thing I did, I never hurt for anything, and that's a blessing. I never hurt for anything. And like you said, I was around good company. So, it was like you said, it's a family. Like my roommate that's my brother. That ain't just my roommate. We grew up together, like, and still to this day, like we're still growing up. And, it's just about throughout the whole journey that you go through at HBCU, those are where you find your closest friends at. Because they can relate to the things that you go through in so many different ways. And everybody that I pretty much played with, that I went to school with, that are deeply close to me, we still are in contact, like, till this day. Like, that's who the people that you sit up and you connect with the most, the people that you go through your hardest struggles with. And like I said, it typically it's not the same when you go to other universities. I'm glad my brothers didn't follow suit behind me, because they got to see a lot about our culture. They got to see a lot about what we had to go through, what our ancestors had to go through. So, and being conscious of that and learning about, this is real life. This is what we really gonna have to deal with. And, it's all becoming a big eye opener for the world now, because all the stuff that they was teaching us about systematic racism and all the social injustice stuff that's going on, we've been being taught about this for a long time. And we've been told that it still exists. At them other universities, they're not going to do that. They're going to suppress it. They're going to sit up here and be like, oh, they're going to try to justify it. No. You need to know the realness of all the stuff that's going on in the world, because once you face with it, you ain't going to know how to react, because you was taught that you're not to be aware of this. But at HBCU, you're going to be taught this. I like Tyre said, I'm not going to sit up here and go to a university where a professor is white or whatever other nationality outside of a black, and you're teaching me my history because you can't relate. You don't know what all my ancestors went through. You don't know them same feelings, them emotions, the pain, the struggle, everything that they had to endure. You can't simulate that feeling. And you can't make me feel like, damn, I know exactly what what you're saying. Like I feel the connectedness. You're not going to get that, but at a predominant, you're going to learn your history. You're going to learn where you come from. You're going to learn why your ancestors did what they did. You're going to even learn why your grandmother, grandfather, your aunts, uncles, like everyone older than you, you're going to learn why their stories make sense now compared to when they was before. And that's a going back, looking at everything, the stuff that my grandmother and my grandparents used to sit up here and tell me, I see it now. Like I literally see it now because that's what they had to go through. Like all this stuff is just being like, all this stuff is just being brought to light. So I mean, it's crazy to think that we wouldn't experience it.
I think Bree got that T-Mobile, huh? Well, T-Mobile went ahead and did that thing. Hey, I'll say this right here, man. To jump in, I think that I saw Stephen A. Smith say something recently, and he was talking about how he did not necessarily agree with the NBA players protesting on not to play at this moment right now. And I understood what he was trying to say, but I also understood what everybody else was trying to say as far as that this is your moment. Right? If you're going to, whatever it is you want to ask for, you better ask for it. Not to say you have to ask for it right now, but now is a good time to ask for it. And when we talk about HBCUs, I think it absolutely is a great moment right now. I think it's a great moment right now. All the HBCUs should be working together. There's no reason right now why all the HBCUs haven't had one big Zoom meeting, just like we having right now, got together and talked to say, hey, here is what we can provide from a business standpoint to different sponsors or to whoever it might be, so we can go ahead and work some things out, bring some revenue in, and make it better at the HBCU. So, you know, like I said, man, only time will tell if we can go ahead and put things together and go from there.
We got to get Bree together over there. She got that
T-Mobile.
I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to send bat signals and the whole nine. But
that T-Mobile and that connection.
I don't know what's going on with the connection right now, but I won't hold you guys. We're gonna wrap this up in about less than 10 minutes. So with all of us, you know, being, you know, minus Bria, being African American men, who all, you know, even if you don't, like Rob, you said you didn't have kids yet, but I'm pretty sure you got, you know, little brothers and cousins and nephews and just kids in the community that you've, you know, kind of taken under your wing to be mentors. One of the things that I've been challenging my peers and network of friends and family to do is we normally, and I say this from a safe place for myself included. Typically, a lot of times when things like this happen, we do a lot of social media posting. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about it, but if there is action, the action doesn't stay consistent over time. And what I'm doing within myself is, again, we cannot do everything. It is not only on one of us to make a change or impact. But what I feel we can do is keep conversations like this going, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's us just checking on each other mentally via text message, trying to find times where we can get together, you know, because what we got to do is a little bit different, in my opinion, than what the generation did before us. What I feel like the generation did before us is they got to where they're at, they're successful, and only a few reach back, right? Only a few. And my cousin, we keep having these conversations about the crab in the barrel mentality, and that, you know, it came and it was restored in us through slavery, which I understand and I respect, and I won't discredit what our ancestors had to do to even get us to this point, right? But somewhere in that battle, in that fight, we were able to overcome kind of what was their, you know, was their kind of plight to get us to where we're at now. What we have to do, or what I suggest that we do, is we continuously, if you see a brother down, you pull him up. You don't just look at it from a standpoint of, oh, well, shit, I'm good. He'll figure it out. Nah, man, we need each other to figure it out. Because Rob, you're in the NBA. Tyrus, you're in the D League on your way to the NBA. Alex, you're building a brand and a business within the community to help youth. Man, sometimes it might just be a quick text message in that group, and it motivates everybody to get up and keep going that next day. Rob, I know right now it's a lot of uncertainty for you guys because you like, for them, the game that I love and that I play and that's my work might be not happening. What do I do, in the midst of time, right? So me texting you just
find a way.
Go ahead. Yeah. So and that's my motto, man. I got 2 mottos that I live by daily. Bet on yourself always, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be able to make sure and see the vision that you want to happen. And 2, if it ain't no way, find one and make it happen, because it ain't nothing stopping us but us. But I think that as I look out into what's going on in the social climate right now, I love seeing all of our people coming together, banding together to make change. But we also need to do that in an intimate, internal way too, because we got to stop letting so much of our issues with each other out to the public, or whatever that we're dealing with. Tyrus, me and you talk, every time I see you, I barely even want to talk to you about basketball, because I know you're dealing with something different and bigger than the game of basketball. Yes, the game of basketball is important to all of us, but you on a journey right now where, and I'm gonna put this pressure on you. I'm gonna put it on you because you know how we rock. Bro, you can literally change the narrative for a whole city if you keep fighting. You get what I'm saying? And don't give up. And don't just become the norm and the statistic that everybody waiting for you to become. You get what I'm saying? Because when I go to these different rec centers in Atlanta and I talk to these kids, I'm looking at you when I'm talking to them. So when they like, man, we got somebody from our hood that made it, man. He, whether you on that Nick roster right now, bro, you was able to step on an NBA court in an NBA uniform, and that's something for them kids to believe in. And you just as important as Anthony Edwards, Sharif Cooper, any of these kids that are coming. You really you the GOAT of the city when it comes to the real community in the hood. And if you keep fighting, and these brothers on this call, as well as Bria, we not discrediting what our Black women, do for us and stand up for us. You can be that martyr to change a big narrative for exactly what our kids deal with every day in the Atlanta community. And Rob, I'm pretty sure the same for you in Chicago and in Tennessee, because a lot of people kind of probably hybrid you. They like, we know he's from Chicago, but he live in Tennessee, or he's here now. I think we just need to do a better job banding together on a consistent basis.
Yeah. No.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, Ja, the term that that we said made for the W is we call athletes frontline warriors, and and that kind of segued into as we transition to get off the phone. But what are some ways that you guys think in the position that you are in as being the frontline warriors in this cultural climate? Because we are looking, society looks to you guys. Or what are some ways that you think that athletes can use their platforms for activism? Or maybe what are you using your platform, or how are you using your platform? And T-Walk, that stems from what you said earlier about your brothers and sisters from Morehouse and Spelman, in the AUC are marching, because it does hit close to home.
Well, I've kind of joined in on stuff here. We did cleanup, the city of vandalism. We understand that protesters and rioters, protesting is good, rioting is not. And so when you diminishing your city, when you're sitting up here breaking down, burning down homes, you're burning down all this other stuff, you're burning down your community. That's not what the whole message is behind. That's just people taking advantage of what is going on in the world. And stuff that they couldn't get. It's a way. And now that's why people are looking at us, because it's so crazy. And realistically, it's not us that's sitting up here that's starting all of the nonsense. Like, when you really pay attention to all the stuff that's going on, it's not us that's sitting up here starting on it. It's videos and everything sitting up here coming out where it's a lot of these non-Black folks that are doing all of the vandalism and all the other stuff. And now we're being put on a scale, and then that's the reason why the reaction. But like you said, these things right here, they save a lot, because back then they didn't have that. They didn't have none of that back then. And, you know, what we did here, we did a cleanup, and then we did a day of prayer, like where we came together within the community and sat up here, and everybody, all different colors, and that, it didn't matter, because we're not looking at it as a white versus Black thing. We're looking at it as a good versus evil, because there are bad people that are not just white. There are bad people of all colors. There's not just good people that are just Black. They're good people of all nations. And the main thing that people don't understand is it's not us against the police. It's not us against all the nonsense. It's us against social injustice, police brutality. You pictured it. It's Black cops that's doing police brutality. It's Black cops that sit up here doing it. It's white cops. It's Hispanic cops. It's all nations that are sitting up here abusing their authority. So therefore, we're trying to sit up here and bring the narrative of coming together, and not just Black lives. It's everyone, because it's just, we're the ones that being the target. So now we're using our voices, and now we're coming together because we're fed up. And like Tyra said earlier, we're trying to do it through change. We're trying to do it through peacefulness. If we was to do it through revenge, it'd be a completely different outcome. And that's not what we're doing. That's not what our ancestors wanted. That's not what we're going for. We're trying to sit up here and bring equality through what our ancestors fought for. So we're going to sit up here and keep policing. No matter how much you try to provoke us, no matter how much you try to do the things that you're doing, we're still going to sit up here and not lose sight of what our true motive is. And that's the point of bringing about change and equality, and changing the narrative of the social injustice, and putting these people that they're abusing their authority, and holding them fully accountable for it, and not sitting up here suppressing everything, because that's the only thing that everything is made up. And now all of these governors, all these mayors, they're doing everything to sit up here and put all this stuff in play. And that's the step in the right direction, but that's not it. Like, we still have to keep breaking it down. And as much as we can, if we stay on top of this, we're going to sit up here and keep making the change, because you ain't gonna sit up here and beat down a boulder just the first time you strike it. It's gonna you're gonna have to keep hitting it over the top of the head. And you might see that 100th time, that small little piece will come out, but that's a step in the right direction, because then you keep going, you keep sitting up here breaking down, you keep knocking down the layers, and eventually that rock is gonna break. The more you sit up here and beat down on it, the more it's gonna break. And that's the thing that that's what we're pushing towards. And like you said, I'm big with you, Ja, about let's not lose this. Like, let's keep on sitting up here pushing forward. Let's keep on sitting up here. And even now, us using our platform, it can go either way. We can sit up here and use our platform as, while we're playing, we'll sit up here and use it to bring even more light to everything, or we just do it by not playing and sit up here and still bring more light to it, because it's sending a message regardless of whatever happens. Right. But it's just about us coming together as a community and figuring out which message is going to happen, be the true thing that we feel like. But we need a plan. We need plan. We can't just say we're going to do this. We need an actual plan of how we're going to get there. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we come together as cohesive one and figure this out. Because everybody can pitch in, but there's many different ideas coming from different things. But if all of them ideas ain't together and in one setting, then how are you going to come to a common ground?
And that's what I was going to ask you about, because, when you alluded to, the season and y'all playing and making a stance through that versus not playing. And I don't know, maybe it's just the researcher in me, like I already see the divisiveness happening, right? Like you got Kyrie saying one thing as the president, you know, of the NBA vice president, and then you got the African American media chiming in, whether that be Kendrick Perkins or, you know, Stephen A. Smith, like you says something. Like there should have been like a uniform conversation, like boom, yep. All 100 members that are leading the way for the NBA PA, we gonna reach out to all the players, get their thoughts and feedback. Damn, a survey could have went out, right? Like something with a 3-question survey on there. Hey, majority rules. If you got an issue or problem with it, please do not voice it out in the social media world, because it's going to get your words and what you're thinking on your turn. Right. And that's literally what they're going to do to us, man. It's going to be whether y'all play or don't play, whether we have AEBL or don't have AEBL, whether we create another Zoom that includes everybody and some people can't show up. There's always going to be a little niche, a group of people that are going to be very divisive, that's going to be like, yo, we can't let them stay united. We got to pluck 1 or 2 people, and we know how to make them turn. And I argued on Facebook with a friend of mine saying that I get that Kevin Durant's trying to step up for his boy and his teammate, but if I was KD, I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have hit Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins directly. I know you got their number, you know what I'm saying? And say, and I'm not blaming KD at all. I'm just saying, I think that's how, because he's a leader. He's a superstar in the NBA. You know what I mean? So if he would have just did it on the low, like, look, bro, we ain't about that. We not doing that right now. You get what I'm saying? We trying to come up with a plan. Kyrie happens to have a voice, and this is what he said. We gonna roll with whatever we decide to do. But now there's division amongst the black players. You get what I'm saying? It's like
that's the one thing we don't want.
Yeah, that's always their targeted plan. Is like, let's find 1 or 2 that are kind of sway away from the plan, and we gonna target and make them an interest. You know, so
that's the way the media has a way of doing that.
Right.
Like, and sometimes we fall victim, sometimes we don't. But, you know, it's a few people that, like you said, I watch what I say, because, like I said, I've had people that try to misconstrue what I've said and, you know, look into the underliers. Like, I just give you the politically correct answer, because I leave you no room to sit up here and fall in now, because, like I said, I've seen it happen.
Right.
And like, that's what they're looking for, because that's what's going to get them attention. So that's what that's what they're going to sit up here and do. And, you know, a lot of times people are going to pick, and some people get fed up and they bite. But man, if you keep just letting the mob pick and just look at them like, I know what you're trying to do, like, just keep it moving. Like, next question. Like, that's what is going to be the connectedness of it all. And like I said, we still don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's a foundation that's laid down, but like you said, we still don't know what's going to happen. These next few weeks is going to be critical.
Right.
So, you know, I just, whatever direction we decide to sit up here and take, like, I'll be prepared either way.
Here we go. In the interest of time, I know, you know, we appreciate you guys definitely hopping on and providing your thoughts and feedback. I mean, this is a very candid conversation, which is what we were, you know, looking for. I guess I'll let each of you guys have final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up.
Go ahead.
T-Walk, we'll start with you. Oh.
T-Walk, go ahead.
Are you saying final thoughts just about the whole situation?
Final thoughts, yeah. Any words of wisdom? Maybe anything that you have coming up? Any brands? Any black brands that you're supporting? It is Juneteenth, so this will be a perfect time to promote those. So yeah, you guys have coming up.
You know, I support any black brand, so I feel like, you know, any black person who, you know what I'm saying, have something going on, I support. And I just want to, at the end of the day, I just want to give shout outs to, you know, every HBCU and definitely, you know, in the AUC, because without them, I probably wouldn't be in this situation right now. You know what I'm saying? And my closest friends, like he said, you make your brothers, honestly, your best friends, your brothers, you make them in the HBCU. And I just want to give shout outs to them. And definitely, you know, my coach, my family. And I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I just hope, you know, with the Mikey situation, I just really hope, you know, he really take that step. I feel like that one step is gonna lead to a whole lot of steps, you know. So that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, I'll go.
Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that you know, I think during this time right here, I think the Black voice has never been louder. You know, and what I mean by that is it's an opportunity to sit at the table and to have these conversations. And that all of America is listening. Look, guys, the entire world is listening. When you saw that protesting across the world, I don't know about you guys, but it sent chills to my body, man, to see the entire world looking at Black America and to see what we are going through and to say, you know what, hey, we're here with you. How can we help? Let's make the adjustments. When it comes to HBCU, you know, with the Mikey Williams kid, you know, if he is a kid that decides to choose to come over with it, I hope that at the same time, does he come? Okay, cool. If that's what he wants to do. I hope that with HBCUs as well, they go ahead and start working together and again, create different revenue streams to make things better at HBCUs, you know, to show and put our kids out in the forefront because these are dreams that they have. They have dreams of going to the NBA. They have dreams of playing big time ball and all kinds of stuff like that. So we have to make those adjustments on there, you know. And hey, since the loudest voice in the room just said he made Juneteenth popular and nobody knew about it, well, I tell you what, then hey, let's take advantage of the platform and go forward and move from there. You know, that's really the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's big. Like I said, I'm a firm supporter in a lot of Black businesses. I got a lot of friends that, you know, are doing really well. And I actually just, you know, caught some new stuff from them today, you know, before I go out of town because, you know, I'm gonna be rocking this on the forefront. Game
Can
days.
you show us?
Yeah.
We want to see.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
I got the best.
Show us.
Listen, that's why I got up.
Here we go.
It's called Live Above. And look, the message on this, Black is legendary.
Oh.
So I've been a firm supporter of them. We got hats, like I'm an ambassador for them. We got it's so much stuff that, you know, I support, especially people of our color. And, you know, my little cousin actually has her own, you know, hair product company called Crazy Curls, and my youngest brother is a barber, you know, aspiring to get into his own shop. So, you know, I'm sitting there, I support, you know, anything that, you know, my family does, and like even my friends, people that I've watched, you know, and learned about with. I've been a firm believer in, you know, like I said, TSU is where I grew up. Like, this is where I became a man. This is where my roots really began to grow. So this is when people really started to understand who Robert Covington was. And like I said, I would change that for the life of me. And like I said, you'll see me sporting these front and foremost as well too. So
okay.
All day.
Yeah, I got my Morehouse ones too.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
ya.
I'll sit up here and I'll be in on the forefront. And oh, I'm sorry. That was my little brother just texted me. It was like, wrong brother. That's my middle brother. But they've been, I've been, you know, trying to be the best leader I can for them, especially now, you know, through all of this time that is going on. Like, I'm trying to be the best that I can be to show them that, you know, man, anything's possible. Like, you know, my story is one for the ages. Like, if people, every time people listen to everything that I've had to endure, everyone looks at me in a whole different light, because now it's like, it's the complete opposite of what you had to endure. And so, like I said, and people always tell me, would I change anything? I'm like, no, I won't, because it made me who I am today. And I won't change not one bit of the story, like not even the worst parts. Right. I won't change none of that. And like I said, I'm a big supporter of a lot of people that, you know, I've been online, like Instagram and everything, looking at people that would be supporting the Black businesses and everything, you know, putting the content out there. I've looked at a lot of different things. So, like, it's going to be more and more that I do my research on, and like I keep sitting up here being a part of, because I guess the more we help each other, the more connected we come as a community.
Yep. The Black dollar is powerful, brother. So for me, you know, a lot of people, you know, mostly kind of know me for AEBL. You know, we're going to make some announcements this weekend in regards to the season. But like I mentioned to you guys earlier as we jumped on, in a few minutes here, once we jump off this call, like I said, I'll let the people know who tuned in with us kind of exclusively. But we are launching the HBCU Elite 100 Camp. So just like how the NBA PA has a 100 camp, we're creating a property for HBCUs to be able to tap in resources. We're going to help them with, you know, brand partnerships, as well as bringing the best and available 100 elite basketball players. Right now, we're just doing boys. The first one will be on September 13th in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And then the next one will be on September 27th right here in Atlanta. We're hoping to get all of the HBCU coaches out. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that they have a grand experience, just like they would if they went to the EYBL or they went to the NBA PA camp, because it got to start with us. And for those who know me and the ones who don't, I'm a disruptor by nature. I don't like anything being comfortable or the same, especially when I know there's a fair shot out there for our people. And if it means that I got to sacrifice some of my livelihood, I've always been with it to do that, because I know if you know, like the saying go, like Jay-Z said, you put me on anywhere on God's green earth, I'm going to make it worth, you know, what I got to do for my culture and for my people. And that's just what I stand on. And, you know, even bigger than that, man, I want to continue to keep building with you brothers, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of y'all busy day to connect with us and just have a conversation. I didn't want this to be too formal, you know, where there's like a question after a question after a question, because I know we all probably get that enough. But man, Rob, you know, Tyrus, Alex, you know, we all connected now in some way, shape, or form. I'll try to make sure that we're all connected in some space. Rob, we're going to be rooting for you. I'm a LeBron fan, but, you know, I'm riding with you, dog, you know, and, you know, anything that I can do to help you, especially anything that you want to do within the community at TSU, back home in Chicago, you know, bro, like I told you when we first connected, all you got to do is just hit me. Ja, this is what I'm doing. Can you help promote it? Can you help get some people involved? I'm always for that. And, you know, Tyrus, like I said, bro, we've been talking about it for a minute, but we gonna make you the face of this thing, man, especially here locally in Atlanta with the AEBL brand, because as much as we get excited about the kids from Duke and Georgia Tech and Alabama and Auburn and UCLA coming into the gym, a light bulb went off that what was that, the summer before last, before you got hurt. When you and Brandon Goodwin took the picture together. To me, that's what I'm building this platform for, is to continue to give equal opportunity and exposure to all of our kids that are coming out of Atlanta. Whether you the number one pick or you the 1,000th pick, you still always going to have a home and a place at AEBL to get your shine on, make a name for yourself. That's why our slogan is earn your name, because we've had guys that probably wouldn't even have pro deals right now that came to AEBL, put in work. We put out some footage on them and they was able to sign contracts overseas. The same thing with the college level. Now we're focusing on the women. So that's going to be something that we really tap into, as well as Bria is the only Black woman host in the United States of America. So we're always trying to change the narrative for our people. And, you know, like I said, love to all y'all, bro, man. I really appreciate y'all. And I'll leave it on you, Bria.
Yeah. Again, I just want to say thank you on behalf of ABL, on behalf of crew. This was an exciting conversation, a much needed conversation on a very historic day. I've learned a lot from you guys, and just the fact that, although I didn't attend an HBCU, hearing your stories, it inspires me to, help the next generation. Like you said, we all have little cousins that are coming up that we want to see be even better than what we were. So, salute to you guys. I will leave you with this. I do own a co-own a women's platform called Made for the W. So again, like I told you guys, it's a lifestyle sneaker platform for women in sports, and, support the ladies, so across the board, for us, we've always had to fight for a space. So now we feel like we've got a voice, to seat at the table. So, if y'all know a woman that rocks some dope sneakers, tag us. It's a platform for her. So again, I'll leave y'all with that. But I just want to say thank you again for your time. Happy Juneteenth. Rob, T-Walk, we are rooting for you guys, and we wish you all the best. And one last question before I let you go. Who has the best band between y'all's 3 schools?
Hold on now. I'm gonna jump in this thing now. Fort Valley did a little something. We might not have too many in the band, but they do their thing though. You can Google that or something. It's on YouTube. It's somewhere around there.
It ain't even close. Tennessee State. We're prominent. It's not even close. They don't listen. Sometimes people don't even go to the football games for the football game. They go for the band.
For the band.
For the band.
So I appreciate you guys again. This has been an awesome conversation. Let's continue to be frontline warriors and push for change in what we believe in. And you guys enjoy the rest of y'all's day.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.